Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. This is Steph Lee, founder of Host Agency Reviews. Thank you for tuning in to the Friday 15. And this is 12 p.m. Central Time. Every week we do this. We answer the questions that you have submitted to us. And if you have your question for us, we're very excited to receive it. You can go to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15 or follow the link in the description. So today we have, we have double co-hosts kind of. So we have Jennifer Dugan with Dugan's Travel, who's been on before. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello.
And we have Shayna Zand with Host Agency Reviews, our managing director.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello. So before we get into things, a couple things in terms of webinars we have coming up. So we have one March 19th on Lean into Luxury, the step-by-step formula to multiply your sales and income. And then the following week, March 26th, we have, to celebrate Women's History Month, Voices of Innovation, Women's Leadership in Travel, which Shayna will be moderating. I may be on the panel too, which is very exciting. So hopefully you can join us for that. We will put the links to register for those in the description if you're interested. And we've got some fun questions today. So our first one, Shayna and I, who have no children, are going to be absolutely no help on this. So this is all you, Jennifer, doing the heavy lifting. What is your favorite place to travel with children under 5? This is Stacy asking. And Jennifer, you've got lots of kiddos, and part of your tagline is all about family. So
Yes.
what are your recommendations?
So my very first trip that I took my 2 oldest was to San Diego. And that was actually a really great trip because you've got the beaches, and then you also had the zoo, and you have lots of kid-friendly activities. It's also low-key, so that helps. Lots of parks, lots of things to do. Our next trip was Disneyland, and I know for parents that sometimes that's a little scary, but Disneyland is actually very little kid friendly. It's smaller than Disney World, so it's easier. Especially, it's easier to go back to the room for nap time and do things like that. Toontown is great for little ones because they can run amok and get it, do lots of things, and it's really good for a younger age. As your kids get older, they're not as interested as going to Toontown, as I've learned. So it's a great opportunity to take those little ones and let them, run and have a good time. And then I just came back from Maui, and there were a lot of kids in Maui. And I think it's laid back. There's the beach, but there's so many hotels and things to do. I really think if you can find a place that, welcomes little ones and has lots for them to do and lots of area to run and be free, because that's part of the challenge when you are traveling with little ones is they have lots of energy and you want them to sleep at night. So those would probably be my top 3 for someone under 5 or around 5. So.
Mm-hmm. So I noticed they were all domestic versus international. Is there a reason behind that? Like going through customs is harder with kids, or?
It can be. I think, the challenge is, as a parent, making sure that you have what you need. If you have to pack it all and make sure you have everything, that can be a challenge. And so going internationally, not only, you have to make sure you have that passport and all that, which some parents aren't willing to spring for, knowing that they're still little, right? But also just the comforts of home. I found that sometimes I would even just not take everything that I needed and then go and get it at the store so that I didn't have 500 bags with me, because especially if you're still dealing at all with diapers or all that stuff, it's kind of nice to do domestic because then you can run to your local Target and get whatever you need. So that's what I have found. I do know a lot of people do international with their kiddos, and it's definitely not something you can't do. But just if you are needing something that, especially a first trip, something domestic probably would be what I
Test the
would
waters.
recommend. Yeah. See, the flight, like, I was just on a flight with a baby that was not very happy. So it's a little bit easier when you have shorter flights to be able to manage all that. So
That makes a ton of sense.
yeah.
Shayna, you gave a really great tip that adults and parents could use. Do you want to share?
The tips to tire your kids out. The one thing I'll add to what Jennifer was saying is that what I found, so a lot of my friends have kids now, and a lot of them are kind of in that age range of like kind of 2 to 8, give or take. And they do a lot of driving trips.
Yes.
So that, you don't have to take them on a flight. Where they get in a car, and that's part of the fun, is like the actual travel to the destination and not just the destination. I think, like I live in Canada, you live in the US. There's so many incredible places within our own countries to go and
Yes.
experience, in a driving trip with younger ones too. And then you can pack, all the diapers, all the things. You don't need to worry about that. So I think that works really well from a domestic travel standpoint as well. And then, yes, so I've seen, I travel quite a bit, and I've seen some fun videos. I've seen it actually in action at the airport. I flew to Orlando today, so lots of kids on my flight. And one that I saw that I thought was great was, the walkers that are like, you use them to speed up so you can make it through the airport faster. Is I saw a father with his son walking the wrong way on the walking machine, so his son could never get off of it. I want to say like 1.5, 2 years old, if that. I saw a video of that, and I thought that was brilliant.
Yes.
Tire the kid out before you take him on the plane. I thought
Yes.
that was spot on. Yeah.
Yep. So that's your tidbit from the horror team there. That's about all we can contribute. Although I did suggest that as the children get older, you could even bring a stick and tie a candy bar or something at the end if you wanted them to run more.
So smart. This is how we work together as a team. Yeah.
Yes, and if anyone is in need of a babysitter, obviously we're very good with children, so feel free to drop us a note.
Yeah, Steph just puts their food on sticks.
I just need to make sure that you have an in-home gym where there's a treadmill.
Yep.
All right, so next question. This is a good one, and this one actually is similar to another question we got in, but Theresa W asked, "Hi guys, so my question is about organizing in processes. Working independently, it's difficult to see how other people organize not only their workflow, but how they store their information to recall it. So from as simple of things as an A to Z address book to put formats in or special codes for suppliers for the promo codes, sometimes you just want things simple and quick. So I struggle with how to set up my files to recall information. I see Steph saying, oh, I'll attach a link, and she retrieves it. I'm glad I come across as organized. Any steps on how to organize computer files? Any help on notes on webinars attached? So that's a great point, because it is, when you used to work in offices, you could get tips from others, but it's a lot harder now. So would love to hear from you, Jennifer, and then you, Shayna, on what you do or what you see advisors doing to help stay organized with their workflows and all of the information that comes from suppliers.
It's definitely information overload that you get. I know my advisors are constantly saying they're getting in so much information that's hard to then, make sure they're not getting overloaded and then get to the point where they're just not reading anything that comes into their email box. So one thing for newer agents that I've recommended is working with a we use Trello for newer agents sometimes, which is it helps because you can map out your process and then drop in your files that you might need on a regular basis. So it's super easy to then go as you're doing something and then just grab what you need or make notes or do anything that you need to have it right there when you need it. Asana is another one that the team uses that I really like because, again, you can drop in those files, you can make those notes, and you can make it so every time you're dealing with something, like say a new client comes in and you have a process for that new client, you can start there with the template that you've created and you have everything you need. So little tips, like maybe you need to remember that you need to do something special on a website or to get there, or maybe you want to even put your password to something right there, just so that you have the mental note to go back to it, because that's the challenge, right? When we start digging in, I know even for myself, if I have to go search for something, more than likely I'm going to get lost in the process and I'm going to end up doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing. And so if you can keep yourself focused on whatever it is, that tends to help a lot. So
Yeah, I think key takeaway from that as well is that this is something every travel advisor struggles with, especially now that it's so easy to communicate. I remember when my mom started her agency, it was like the fax machine would be going crazy and you just have reams and reams
yes.
of supplier stuff coming in, which felt overwhelming at the time, but that's the dream.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Shayna? What do you do to organize and stay on top of things?
I mean, what I will say is that there are so many different tools or things that you can do. And the one thing I love about this community in particular, the travel advisor community, is that everyone is willing to share what they do. What I will say is ask questions, see what others do. Not everything is specifically going to work for you. So I would talk to multiple people because different things work for different people. So just, I would, kind of shop around with your fellow advisors, if you will. Everyone is always willing to share. That's my favorite thing. A few things I do. So I like Asana is fantastic. Trello. Steph knows I'm a big Monday.com advocate. And you can compare them. The great thing is you can free trial on them and kind of see what works, how they work. A few things that I do, and more so on the way I kind of organize my day, is I always start my day, my first 30 minutes of my day is only going over deals, news, things that are going on in the industry. I kind of ignore everything else in my inbox, we use Slack to communicate internally. I am purely looking at seeing what's going on. So whether it's with different suppliers in the industry, all the trade news, everything like that. And that's kind of the first 20 to 30 minutes of my day. And then I feel like I know what's happening throughout the industry. So I like to organize my day like that. That's how I start. Another thing I do, and I do a lot of things because I love organization. It's one of my favorite things in the world. I'm really, really, I think the only word I can use is intense with the way that I organize my bookmarks in my, my browser. There we go. That's the word. As I notice that I'm using something more often, I have folders within my bookmarks linking to documents or websites or things that I use on a very regular basis. That's how I can open things quickly. When you're saying Steph pulls up a link very fast, those are ways that I can do that as well. So I can open things incredibly fast because, I have marketing here, suppliers here. I have host agency reviews as a tab. And then within it, I have finance, marketing. I have different folders that have all the important links that I regularly will go to. I'll even save different Google Docs in there with important information. When it comes to processes, consider AI. There's a lot of AI tools where you can tell it your process and it will literally write it all out for you.
Yes.
So things to consider as well. I sat in on an AI conference where the guy that was presenting said, if it's something you want to do, it's highly likely AI can do that for you. So something to consider, with SOPs when we're talking about, standard operating procedures, where you want to have all the steps. Instead of having to type everything out, you can literally speak and it will take down all of your notes for you. There's lots of different tools out there like that to kind of organize things. And I think I just brain dumped a bunch of different things that I do to organize.
No, that's perfect because people want actionable items.
100%. So I hope some of that helped.
Yeah, going back to that is that you have to find something that works and you have to use it. And you also have to set yourself up with it. Like if you think an idea is great, you need to do it, right? As opposed to sitting there and thinking, I need to do this. Like I had a folder that I knew I needed to create because it was all the top things that I'm always looking for, right? So you have to carve out some of that time every day to organize, right? You have to, because if you don't, you'll just be thinking about how I really need to do this and you'll never do it. So, and then every day goes past and you're like, I really need to do this. So in your process, you have to allow yourself that time because if you don't, you won't do it. So
setting aside a day. Yeah. In order to get organized, I feel like you really have to put the time up front in order for it to pay off. And it's tedious and it's not very fun, but there's a couple of other things I wanted to mention. So first of all, we're going to link to like Trello, Asana, Monday.com in the descriptions for people to take a look at. Those are project management softwares. Some of the other things we'll link to our travel technology list in the CRMs because a lot of them will have built-in workflows. You have to do the work of building the workflow, but they also have marketplaces and different things. And there's people that specialize in certain CRMs within the industry that will sell workflows to different travel advisors. And in terms of learning from other advisors, one of the best ways you can do that online, you can definitely do it, but it's really nice if you're in person at an event and sitting at a table, then someone can show you on their phone or their iPad what's going on. So those are some things to consider. We'll link to our events calendar if you're looking for events. And the Shayna and Jen will be headed to ASTA's, the Travel Advisor Conference is it May?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're going there, keep an eye out for Shayna. But some of the things too, I think email filters can be really helpful, especially for the supplier information that you're getting. So I don't work in Outlook. But let me just share my screen really quick and I'll, those of you that are in Gmail may already know this, but say, let's see, this is an email. For those that are listening in, you're going to have to visualize with me. An email from the future of tourism. And if I wanted to create, say it was from sandals and I wanted to make sure that all of these went into a sandals folder. There's a really, really easy way to do it. You click the three vertical dots on the right-hand side and do filter messages like these, which makes it so that we could say if it's from whatever sandals at sandals.com, and then you're just going to create the create a filter button, and you can do like that we want it to go into a certain, like categorize it as a special. And then you also want it to go directly into the label for, supplier things. And then also for sandals. So that's an easy way to do it so that if your client calls, you can just click the sandals label and see what's in there, what the latest things are from sandals. One of the other things, hold on, let me remove this screen from this. So that's, I also use those bookmark toolbars for the browsers, just the same as Shayna. I'm really big into those. One of the other things I love is because you asked specifically, Theresa, about any help on notes on the webinars that I've watched. So I've had that same problem where I take notes and I take them in a zillion different areas, and that makes it really difficult. And so a couple things that I found help, like one, I have a special notebook that I do just for in-person events so that I know that anytime it's an in-person event, if I want to see notes, I can go to that notebook. And it looks very different from my other notebooks. And then for, let's see, again, this isn't if you're in Google Mail, but you're able to do attach a document to an event on your calendar. So that way, all you have to do is click on the calendar event, and then there's a notes attachment. So if you click on that to add notes, you're able to easily access any of the notes that you've taken if you've taken it in a Google Doc. And so that's what I've been doing lately with any webinars I watch, is I take the notes and then attach them, because otherwise I can never find them anywhere.
Yeah.
I really, oh, go ahead.
No, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I love that I come across as organized, but really what my secret is, Theresa, what I'm saying, I'll attach a link, is a lot of the times we have the exact same resources within the site that we're citing. So I have a document that I pull up during this that has all of the links with like the information written out. So all you have to do is copy and paste it. So it's not as, I'm not as organized as you think. But the other option I was going to say, and I just thought of this, but virtual assistants, so many people are using virtual assistants. AI works great, but one of the things you could do is hire on a virtual assistant to go through your inbox, organize the suppliers. Of course, this is going to cost you something, but there's a couple different ones, like Lucia is a marketplace for travel assistants. For travel staffing is another one. They outsource out of Kenya. And then there's MVC Solutions, but they usually work on a bigger basis and don't just hire one at a time. But the other thing you could do is go in with a couple advisors, because a lot of advisors have this issue, and say, hey, would anybody be willing to go in and pay somebody 20 hours a week with me? It'll end up costing us X amount each month. And they'll go into our inbox and sort all of our things and put them in a main folder for us, so that we're all able to see what the specials are for certain suppliers. So that's something you could definitely look at doing as well.
Yeah. The only thing I was going to add on was, and both you and Jennifer alluded to this, is it takes time to set something up, but it's kind of like that saying, the short-term pain of setting that up for your long-term gain.
Yes.
Once it's set up, it just flows, right? So it's just getting it set up. So it is worth the time to do that. Also, and we've been talking a lot, like all these different technology platforms. Remember that a lot of them can either integrate with each other or speak to each other in different ways, whether it's directly, whether it's through a platform like Zapier. They can talk to each other so that you're not duplicating work between them. Something happens in one, it automates something happening in another. So those are also things to consider as well as you start to kind of build out what you're organizing. So consider those things too.
Cool. And then I'm also going to link to, I think it was last week's Friday 15. I'll have Abby put it in the comments, but we also kind of did a similar question to this, and there was some advice overlap, but there's also a different advice in there. So we'll link to that for you. And that about wraps things up. So Jennifer, first of all, thank you for sponsoring and co-hosting today's episode, but we're going to link to your profile on HAR as well as your website. Is there anything else that you would like people to know, or places for them to check out?
No, our profile is the best place to check things out and learn a little bit about us.
Yay. Well, perfect. Let's see, coming up on the Friday 15th in the future, next week, the 21st, we have Global Travel Collection. This is going to be their inaugural Friday 15. So please be nice in the comments. And then March 28th, we have Travel Industry Solutions. So if you would like to get reminders of the Friday 15 when they're coming on, you can get email and text messages, and that will tell you what the questions are that we're going over for the week and who our co-host is, if there are any co-hosts. So you can do that by going to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. You can also watch all of the Friday 15s there. So that is it for us. Thank you, Shayna. Thank you, Jennifer. It was wonderful spending the Friday with you.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank all of you for joining us as well. We will see you next Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time. Bye, everyone.